Thanks for coming over. This is Amodeus. Today's Dungeon Hunter Champions video is about who's on your wish list. So Dungeon Hunter Champions has a lot of champions accessible to the player base. I'm constantly asked who I want next, but I want to start off this video by turning that question around. I want to ask the community, what champions do you want? And this is for everyone, early, mid, or late game. And I'll give you a couple of examples of why I'm asking this. Because first and foremost, I'm going to do a series of videos based on your responses and getting into the specific builds of different units and the teams they work best on, right? Now, for instance, I believe that OGD is pretty dead on everything except for siege towers. Now, that means we need a lot of conversation builds and recommendations for direct damage dealers. And I'm a huge fan of the versatility, performance, and longevity of both the Nature Candy Munchkin Peppermint and the Light Candy Munchkin Lemondrop. I'm not the only one though. This is actually from Matt Peel, one of our viewers. He was kind enough to share his Lemondrop, her build stats, where he uses her, and what the team looks like as far as runs go, you know, as when he's using her. And this is a pretty impressive Lemondrop, I'm not gonna lie. Now, one of the interesting things I thought was during the conversation with Matt was that he's like, I can't wait to get a Fire Blade Master, because it's gonna just make everything so much better. And I was like, oh, I feel that way, except I have Fire Blade Master, and your run is still faster than mine. Like, I was like, oh, your run is still faster than mine. I might have to share this Lemondrop with folks. So I am. He was kind enough to give me the stats, the build, and everything, so I'm sharing that with everybody else. This is a pretty darn good Lemondrop in my personal opinion. I was pretty impressed, especially since his run is a little bit faster than mine. I do blame the vampire. Just like every other bad thing in this game that happens, I'm either going to blame the developers or I'm going to blame vampires, because that's really what it boils down to for me most days. Either vampires are trying to ruin my day. I need a Buffy character. There's a throwback. Seriously, I'm sick of these vampires just rocking my world every day. I'm Matt, I blame that. I blame that vampire. That's the only reason. Once I get my vampires, oh, it's on, sir. It's on. But joking aside, you know, I think a lot of folks are probably dialed into how good the Candy Munchkins are. But then you look at units that we kind of showcased in one of the, I think it was Vrenix's box. He had the Dark Fairy. And I don't know anyone that wanted the Dark Fairy until I heard Drump talking about it. And he was like, it's one of my most wanted units. And then I started looking at her, and I'm like, man, I totally overlooked her. She's great. Now, she's super hard to get, but is she really any harder to get than any other, like, Dark Archangel I talk about all the time? So I was like, I definitely got to pay attention to this. This might be the most amazing DPS in the game. But I can't test her, I don't know. But I definitely put her on my wish list, because I was like, oh, if these folks like her, that's for certain something awesome. And I also thought it was pretty cool that this is a wish list unit, right? But it doesn't stop Dumb from giving some pretty solid advice with another unit in that review, which is the Nagas. Like, no Naga 2019, folks. Like, their shields are not as good, and you shouldn't 6-star them at this point, right? They used to be pretty stellar, but at this point, I'm not feeling them, and I don't think anybody else is. But if I'm wrong and you got a different opinion, let me know in the comments below, because really what I'm thinking about is that shield as good as your Archangels? Because if you're going to 6-star a unit, you should probably 6-star that Archangel first, right? Now, speaking of Archangels, I've also been working with Big Pete on how to transition from tank to bruiser with a couple of different units, and one of them is the Archangel Torleone. Now, this is a work in progress, so I'm not showing her off yet, mainly because I'm not spinning gold yet. And the reason I'm not spinning gold yet is because we have this ridiculous event coming up, which a lot of folks seem to agree with me in that last video, and I appreciate you guys sharing your opinion. Hopefully GameLoft sees that and switches some stuff around. But I'll tell you, one of the other sides of that was, you know, how much gold can you do per hour? And I'm going to share that, right? Because this is the last run in an hour-long session. And like I said, this is my fastest gold farming team. It's the same one we saw last week. But now we've just kind of commoditized doing it relentlessly for like the last hour, and then after this we'll actually see what we transition from. So in the beginning we had like 651,000 gold before we started this 1 hour run just to see. And I'll be honest, one thing I was really surprised with is that I didn't have a single keeper piece of gear, and I had pretty low standards as far as what gear I was going to keep. But yeah, I was really unimpressed with the gear selection that we got, which is good because then I just sold it. So I was able to actually get more gold, I think, than I normally would. Obviously going to sell that. Let's drop out of here. Let's switch over. How much do we have? 1.2 million. So actually, I guess probably 600,000 an hour is probably where we're going at. And like I said, like, I don't think we failed. No, that's wrong. Over the weekend when we were testing, we failed. I don't think we failed today. So let me know in the comments below what you guys are looking for your next champion and why. And then, you know, as always, thanks for watching the videos. Back to grinding. Have a great day. Bye.